Well, we did have a lot of speakers here today, so I understand that time is valuable, so I think we're going to go ahead and start.
Wait, was there anything else you wanted to say, though?
I think I'm on the list later, so maybe I'll just finish the rest of it later.
So this is on behalf of the Student Affirmative Action Committee. Dear Chancellor Mary Ann Fox, the UCSD Student Affirmative Action Committee has been a staunch advocate for diversity at this university since its establishment in 1975. The Student Affirmative Action Committee fully endorses the Lumumba Zapata Coalition's list of demands and asks that the Provost of Thurgood Marshall College and the University Administration agree to support the desires of students, staff, faculty, and countless community members who are gravely concerned about the quality and integrity of the DOC program. We also condemn the intimidation, harassment, and dismissal of teaching assistants who raise questions about the direction of the program, which is antithetical to the goals of higher education and a serious violation of free speech rights and academic freedom as understood in the broadest sense. On those grounds, we advocate for the immediate reinstatement of Benjamin Balthazar and Scott Boehm as teaching assistants to the DOC program. The Student Affirmative Action Committee's endorsement is supported by each member organization, and as a coalition, we plan to do everything within our power to ensure the success of the Lumumba Zapata Coalition. We request that you do not take the student demands lightly. Following the original spirit of Thurgood Marshall himself, we are a united community, willing and ready to stand up against all forms of injustice. We are acting upon our right to be a scholar and a citizen, and your continued denial and ignorance to our issues is a gross contradiction to the core philosophy of both the Dimensions of Culture program, Thurgood Marshall, and the University of California, San Diego itself. It is ironic that after nearly 40 years, the pulse of the student movement is once again centered on Thurgood Marshall College. You cannot claim to honor and celebrate diversity while simultaneously watering down a curriculum originally intended to promote critical race theory and social justice action. If it is true that Thurgood Marshall is as committed today as to its founding principles of social justice and equality as it was in 1970, then we hope you will find the courage to admit your past faults and correct past mistakes. In the spirit of Thurgood Marshall College's founders, the Student Affirmative Action Committee joins the hundreds of students, staff, faculty, and community members in our full endorsement of the Lumumba Zapata Coalition and commits itself to this movement.
Right?
Next we have Professor Sharon Elise from the Ethnic Studies Department.
Ow! I wrote something down, so I'm going to read it. But let me just first say, oh, I guess I need this thing. Like this? Like this? Is it working? Oh, I got to do this. You did very well with this. Okay, I'm an alumni of Third College, class of 1975. I'm a visiting professor in the Ethnic Studies Department. I'm also a full professor of sociology at a little college down the road, California State University San Marcos, where I'm also the coordinator for ethnic studies. I sit as Affirmative Action Officer on the executive board of our local chapter of the California Faculty Association, which you know is hot off the heels of a major victory for labor rights for faculty. And so we send to Benjamin and Scott, we send messages of solidarity, and we stand with the LZZ in solidarity with their demands, and that's from the executive board of the local chapter CSUSM of the CFA. I'm sorry I couldn't get you a broader endorsement, but that was very quick last night. Okay. I want to share with you, I think this is very important, and maybe sometimes we don't always realize that it's an important thing that we're doing. And it's bigger than this particular college, and it's bigger than these particular workers who are at the moment out of a job for next year. It's a very large issue, and I say this as a person who has faced bodily threats at every institution at which I have taught. That would include University of Oregon, Fresno State, and California State University, San Marcos. Why are these places so hotly contested, right? Because they're so important. And so I want you to know, I'm going to read what I wrote because I think it's better, all right? Hopefully. Why shall we stand with the Lumumba Zapata coalition in support of demands for a curriculum in the original intention of this third college? Why shall we again invoke revolutionaries who were forced to spill blood in the struggle for human rights? And why should we lay aside our usual business to engage in this protest? There's no better moment than this moment to stand for proponents of academic freedom. Here in a time when our government has fallen full on prey to the corporate community, holding our working class heroes in its armies and navies, dripping them one at a time from its right hand into the pus of its putrid needs, its left hand clenched around the last vestiges of any democratic process, squeezing it dry, the courts and judges wrung out, the press having fallen willingly to lap up and recount in glory its every misdeed and lie, the religious right having taken over the frame of moral might, and we in the universities who make this protest, this outcry, are what is left. This is a critical, crucial, most righteous fight, because it is clear to the naked eye that education here is not free, because it is clear to the least inquisitive mind that history told never included real folks like you and me, because we don't want to revert back to the kind of national culture expressed by Walt Disney, because an injustice to one is an injustice to all. Yeah. Because we must speak truth to power in the words of Stuart Hall, because our truths have been suppressed, because our ancestors won't let us rest, because we are not the powers that be, but we will fashion the tools that will set ourselves free, because we did not come up into the master's house to sit at his table and eat, but to set the whole thing aflame, because we know meritocracy is a false name given to this war-hungry, greedy, planet-killing, spirit-robbing, capitalist, patriarchal, sexist, misogynist, straight-up racist, real ones living for the bling-bling of today, don't care about tomorrow, or your own mama, or your potential great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchildren, gone. Because these campus culture wars get stepped up more by Horowitz and freaked out dudes like him every day. When our outright exclusion got kicked by the wayside and a few of us got inside, bringing stories told from our side, it set off another tide of white, right, flight, and fight alongside their new allies, those bandana head, taco rolled, coconut, apple salad bowl denizens of this culture of fear. And the underlying truth is, this is it, the struggle, not just a war of words and whose books and treatises will be taught, but who will be the next town crier for the people, not the empire. Because the truth is, we are the manufactured products created of, by, and for the system. But remember, the seeds of resistance cannot be blanched. We are those seeds because we will not blow away in the face of fear that this has become the ways and means used most popularly here. We will stand with this LZZ against this repression because we still can and will make this a struggle for a true university of the people, a Lumumba Zapata college promised to be as it was before those names went down in infamy, supplanted by one who had no connection with radical communist history. We stand with Benjamin, Scott, and the LCC in solidarity and won't be silenced.